And it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old Cubs game.
Hey y'all, come on in and join us.
We have a soap today loaded with history and inspiration from Barrister and Mann.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. Thank you for finding our little barbershop. If you happen to be here during one of the live premieres on YouTube, why? Come on in the live chat. Meet the Whiff Pack. Cool group of friends hanging out from all over the world. They'd love to meet you too. And for our mention today, well, has Big League Chew taken a stand against shrinkflation? No. This is a collaboration. We noticed that in the wet shaving hobby, there's a bit of a crossover to the fountain pen hobby and the scally cap hobby. So when we saw that Boston Scally, the queen mother of cap companies, had done a collaboration with Big League Chew, we had to grab a couple of these baseball-themed, absolutely beautiful scally caps, and they look like this. Y'all, many of them come with their own custom dust bags, and look at the lining. I mean, we are talking about the same level of care and craftsmanship that we expect in the wet shaving hobby brought to life in the cap world, and look what it also comes with. I mean, come on. They are warm, they are perfectly fitted. They come in 6 or 7 different sizes and kid sizes as well, because let's face it, she can't even do laundry. She falls into the washing machine. Some of them are fun and whimsical, Halloween themed, Christmas themed, and some of them are absolutely dapper and dignified, fitting for the boardroom. And y'all, I think I know what the crossover is about. If a lot of you have the same flesh-colored yarmulke going on that I do, and you might be a head shaver, you need something to cover up with in the bright sunlight. And if you might not be a ball cap guy, this might be your pony. Head over to Boston Scally and look at what they've got. And they have a brand new release every Friday, like PAA. And what is our soap today?
Well, now that Barrister and Mann is back in full production, we had to grab Lavanille. Let's meet him.
All right, y'all. Constant viewers will know that the Barrister and Mann soaps are now being produced at the Sterling plant in Paris, Arkansas, and they are in the full swing of things now, and the original classics have already come out again and sold out, by the way, from the sales page at barristerandmann.com.
Some time ago, Barrister and Mann had the extraordinary fortune to obtain a small sample of the discontinued leathery perfume base Mousse de Saxe. Armed with only this small sample and historical records of what went into the original, we set out to recreate the famous design by smell alone. After 4 months of research, formulation, reformulation, and constant refinement, we successfully rebuilt Mousse de Saxe into its original glory. It seemed only fitting that such an achievement should be used to create a soap inspired by some of the greatest masculine fragrances of all time. We blend our version of Mousse de Saxe with lavender, vanilla, cedar, and elegant musk to create a dark, leathery, elegant soap unlike anything seen for nearly a half-century.
And leave it to Barrister and Mann to know which nooks and crannies of the perfuming world should never go away forever just because of how inspired and inspiring they are. One of the blind buys, Mr. Carius will remind you, is Chanel No. 5, because it is an absolute icon, and so many perfumes today still stand on its shoulders. So I'm so excited to not only experience Mousse de Saxe, but Will's version of it. Come along, y'all. Let's open the box. All right, y'all. So now that Will Carius is free to perfume and be the creative arm of Barrister and Mann, the soaps are being made in Paris, Arkansas, and then shipped to their distributing plant where they are sent out to us. And this is how they are packaged. Beautiful. They never go anywhere in these boxes. And this is the classic Barrister and Mann artwork to add to our collection. And if you know Seville or Muir Wood the way we do, you'll know this design. All right, y'all. I think I want my beloved to take this first impression. All right, y'all. So Mousse de Saxe is a perfuming base. It's an accord. In fact, this one specifically is made of oak moss, leather, vanilla, patchouli, ionones, coumarin, and labdanum for the traditional sense of the Mousse de Saxe accord. And then perfumers would use that base and add all kinds of things to it to make a myriad of famous scents from back in the day, spanning from the late 1800s to the late 1950s. So let's see how far back in time this takes us. But I suspect that some of those vanilla and other notes swirling around in there are going to give it a modern twist.
Let's see. Oh! Look at how dark that is! Holy moly!
Light can't even escape that soap. Vanilla indeed. Right? Holy crap.
I thought it was chocolate.
All right, take it in, see what you get. Is it Moussey? Is it Saxy? Mousse de Saxe actually means moss of Saxe. Saxe, we think, was the guy that perfumed it, or it was his house. So there you go, a very Saxy moss going on in here.
I'm glad we read what that was, because it is mossy. But the fact that they were mentioning leather, at first I didn't know how that was going to work, but it actually kind of makes sense. It's almost like if I could throw in like anise or something in that range as well, like something between oak moss into an anisey kind of thing that turns into a leathery kind of thing. But they all feel like they're from like natural earthy things, not, like they're real somehow. And they are having a dark depth, not just because it looks like this color, but it really kind of like pulls into that actual base-y kind of color here.
Nice.
I almost picture the moss in like a formation of like a spearmint leaf or something. Like there's something about it being almost like muddled that is cleaner than a normal moss. Right. So I get why this is like its own accord and where it came into be, but it is making me feel like I kind of know it, but I don't at the same time.
Right. Is it like an Irish mousse kind of moss?
No, it's much darker. Like it really is almost this kind of color.
Right.
But like where green could almost turn into like a deep brown, it's like the darkest green that you can have.
Well, there is like a super dark moss now that I think about it. That's like almost a brownie color. Ooh.
I don't know if that's what this is or how it's working, but there's something that almost comes off as still being clean. Right. Like that's why I was picturing like the texture of like a spearmint leaf, but it still has the moss qualities, if that helps.
Now, can we judge a book by its title? Do you get vanilla?
Let me find out. That is not the first thing that crosses my mind.
Okay.
Or lavender, because I was thinking that's how the name title was kind of coming together.
Right.
But they're in here. They're just not what my nose finds first.
Gotcha. Important to know.
I think the brisk, almost like frostbite, kind of a like clean, crispy kind of thing is actually coming from the lavender that's at the beginning of this whiff. Like the actual plant, but it's like on a chilly morning. There's something cool about it, like temperature-wise. Then it goes into the more of the Mousse de Saxe thing. Let me see if I can find where the vanilla is hiding. It's different here. The vanilla to me, I was expecting it to be gourmandy, and it's not. Oh. Like when I picture vanilla, I picture it much more dense, like almost like a brick, like you can't even see through it. Here it has like this sheer kind of thing, like it's almost like an iridescent version, image-wise. Like it just kind of changes and morphs because I think it's next to the Mousse de Saxe. It's almost latching on to like more of like the anisey kind of thing. I don't think there's anise in here, but that's like as close as my brain is getting like that deep, dark version of what it's doing. Right. I don't get the gourmandy side. It kind of pierces through the scent. It cleans up the end a little, but it's not the vanilla I'm expecting. So I kind of am like getting to know a whole new side of what vanilla can even do.
Is it a sweet scent?
Not at all.
Oh.
Not at all. Which is what is so mind-blowing. I'm sure it's still vanilla, but like what we were told vanilla was is not what's happening here. Like maybe it's more tonka bean is what we were picturing. Like think of like a vanilla extract when you're baking. There is something like strong about that.
Yeah, it's a bourbon.
And it's much more the extract. Like it's much more that pure kind of a thing. Somehow closer to that than the gourmandy kind of side that we normally get with a lot of our shaving soaps.
I was reading an essay not long ago by Will Carius about the fact that we generally use the word vanilla sometimes synonymously with like plain or average, and how vanilla is one of the wildest, densest spices we have, and we generally always take it for granted. So I love it that he's presenting it here maybe in a very different form than I'm used to.
So I actually am really enjoying that the lavender I thought we were going to get, not even close. It's much more of that piercing through. Same thing with the vanilla. Like there's sharp edges in here, but they all get along.
I was shocked by Leviathan. How beautifully soapy that leather was. I used it the other night.
I somehow know that this is a Barrister and Mann scent. Right. Like it's super brave. It's not something that's a streamlined newbie on the shelf thing, but I kind of like how brave this is going.
Right.
It fits into those deeper, dankier kind of side, but it's still naturally beautiful.
Yes. There is something I refer to as the Barrister and Mann mystique that I think is a little bit of Will's perfuming base that you find in Mere Wood. You even find it in spice. So I'm wondering if a little bit of that might be in there too.
I don't think so, but it's still a Barrister and Mann vibe, like a thumbprint maybe. More on the scent notes side of things, like how brave and how deep they're willing to go.
Right. Is there mousse in it?
No, but the color where you'd think like chocolate mousse, I get the color here, but that's a wrong type of mousse.
And now for something I hope I'll really like. All right, y'all, the shaken clam. Let me take a look at this beautiful Barrister and Mann pour. It looks like ground coffee.
It really does.
Okay,
Don't take a bite, though. Don't eat the soap. Yep.
One of our commenters the other day said, I love Barrister and Mann because of the risks that they take. And I said, abso-friggin-lutely, because when it's a crowd pleaser and it's a home run, it becomes an absolute icon. And when it's not so much a crowd pleaser, but it's one where it needs to educate your nose, take you back in time to an entirely different era, those become even more profoundly iconic somehow. Think Marilyn. Think 42, which, Simon, is coming back. Okay, you know how Moss has kind of a sharp side and then a very green side? This is only the sharp side, only the almost soapy side of Moss, and that descends down into a very clean, almost soapy leather, not unlike the leather in Leviathan, but that's where the similarities stop. And then something brisk that's almost a floral, but I don't perceive it as such. But it's not green, it's more purple. And just as your nose is identifying the sharp part of the moss and it goes to seek the green part, that's where it transitions into the vanilla, into the ionones. Whoa, so your nose is not expecting the wall it gets slammed up against, but it's grateful for it. And I think the glory of the Mousse de Saxe base is it sets your nose up to be expecting much sharper, much more pokey high notes because it's an upside down scent. Yeah. But when you get to the high notes, they're so dramatically different. They're so sweet. They're so inviting. They are almost gourmandy to me, like being on the outskirts of a bakery that's opening at 3 o'clock in the morning so they can start baking all that fabulous stuff. That's where the top notes meet me.
I now get why the gents in the chats of our whiff pack were trying to just explain it's not going to be what you're expecting, but they didn't want to give anything away. I get it now.
You know what's in the middle?
Yeah?
In between that fabulous Mousse de Saxe base and the vanilla violets on top?
Okay.
I was just smelling the original Aqua Velva this morning, and there is something about the medicinal saginess in the middle of that Aqua Velva that is in the middle of this for me, bringing the Mousse de Saxe into the world of the vanilla and the florals. Am I completely wrong? She will tell me if I'm completely wrong.
No, I think it's in the green side. Something in the greens. I can see what you're talking about.
It's not a far walk, but that makes sense because the Mousse de Saxe Accord was just about the most popular thing in men's perfuming during that period, during the original Aqua Velva creation. So I think a little bit of that is in the middle of this, and I think it should be. There are hints of woody notes for me in the base, but they're much more birch than they are mahogany. They're not sweet and soapy. They're real and outdoors. And y'all, one of the theaters that I work is the Lesher Center for the Arts, where we might be doing Tarzan in one theater, and in another theater, John Leguizamo might be giving a talk. So it's not uncommon for me to be sitting there in a gorilla outfit and somebody insanely famous walks by. This is the kind of thing they smell like. I'm not sure how to better describe that, but this is the smell of money that doesn't have to prove itself. Just something beautiful from your hair, something in your laundry detergent. Just that level of luxury is spoken of in this. And the best part about it for me is the tug of war, because the moss stays firmly grounded, but that vanilla and those florals are almost celestial. So we are talking about miles of a tug of war inside of this scent, and your nose is going to land somewhere in the middle of that phenomenal tension and choose its own way out. My nose goes up to the sweets, but I could see how most noses would dive back down into those fabulous mossy notes.
I love that we bought this because we thought it was lavender and vanilla. This is not that.
We were wrong. And you know what's funny? This is a little bit too whimsical for me for a boardroom scent. I mean, definitely for the established gentleman, but for the kind that likes to go out and have adventures. If you don't look for the Mousse de Saxe, can the vanilla kind of meet you at the door? How do you get it?
Let's see. Not for me. I can't get to the sweets. So to me, it's just kind of, my brain immediately follows it down to the basement. Like, that's the more intriguing part for me. It's hard for me to find the tops on this at all.
Mine goes straight up to the clouds, and I stand on that foundation of that leathery note. But my eyes are cast to heaven. But again, I could totally see how you could approach this in a different way.
So 2 different opinions, 2 different experiences. There you go.
4 different nostrils. All right, y'all, come along with us. We're going to take another look at these scent notes and build you a very dark lather. All right, y'all, before we go back to the sales page of Barrister and Mann, let's dive into those scent notes from Mousse de Saxe. Now, they start with oak moss. Generally, oak moss and I are not friends unless it's used exactly right, like in Old Spice. And here, it's used exactly right. I don't even get the mossiness of the oak moss. I just get the soapy side of it. How do you get the oak moss in this?
It's like an echo. My brain gets oak moss, and then right when I find it, it's gone. It swoops into the rest of the scent notes that are creating the Mousse de Saxe.
Somehow that accord is keeping the mossy part from getting green and mossy. It's just the clean part of the moss. And then it goes into leather notes. Absolutely. Vanilla in the Mousse de Saxe. Patchouli, but again, it's not the danky, dark San Francisco State hiding us in on the quad patchouli. No, it's a much cleaner, much more dapper patchouli. Ionones, violet molecules, coumarin, a little bit of that hay note hiding at the very bottom. Will and I have talked about coumarin. I'm having trouble with it in our barbershop accord. And labdanum, a fabulous resin to keep this a bassy scent. Love that. And then from the sales page at Barrister and Mann, after Mousse de Saxe, we have
lavender, vanilla, cedar, and elegant musk to create a dark, leathery, elegant soap unlike anything you've seen for nearly half a century.
And what's cool, I can sense the part that's the Mousse de Saxe that they had 50, 80, 100 years ago. And I can really tell the separate accord that Will has put in here to modernize it. So it's like listening to a modern cover of a classic song. That's what this is doing. And every once in a while, the covers are better. Am I right?
So to me, I can get the Mousse de Saxe almost as its own scent note.
Right.
There's movement in there, but it's because of all the other stuff around it. So I get the concept of what they were trying to do here, and it does make it even braver somehow.
I love it when they use dirties to make clean. That's what's happening in here.
I can't even pull out that it's leather, but that's the closest word you can use to describe this. I almost got like a deeper coffee-ish kind of note, but I'm like, that's not even it either. Like, so there's parts that are familiar, but they never quite get into the lane that you're thinking.
And what is this beautiful box holding bowl? This is our new shaving bowl from Brousseau and Dove. It was a gift from our friend David, who I can actually call our friend because we meet him for lunch on occasion. Yeah. He lives just across the bay and he's an awesome guy. He spent years of research and development to create the ultimate shaving bowl that kind of makes its own little channel here, because where the sides meet the bottom, they don't go straight up, and it's a way to invite the bristles of your brush to go in there and grab every nook and cranny of the soap and make a truly superlative lather. So we're excited to take my favorite base in the wet shaving world into this bowl and see what it'll do. Y'all, definitely vanilla. Look how much it's oxidized. Look at the soap under the surface. Fabulous. Now, I love that this is darker because you're going to be able to see the lather in this white porcelain bowl. All right, Sarah's just going to push the soap into the ridges of the bowl, make a thin layer.
It almost looks like there's coffee chunks in here, but they're not when you feel it. It's just how the coloring of the soap is blending.
And y'all check out the Brousseau and Dove sales page. They're also available at the Razor Company and Razor Emporium. The decals are designed after classic tattoo flash art. And I'm just going to... Oh, are you smelling what the water's doing to that already? Holy. And this is Sarah's Barrister and Mann and Chiseled Hound Season of the Witch brush from a couple of Halloweens ago. And she's just going to come at that soap and start transferring it up onto those bristles. Now, we'll suggest that you use a synthetic brush with this particular soap because the vanilla might stain your badger bristles.
All right, y'all, I've got most of the soap here onto the bristles. So I'm going to dive down and add the water into this. And you can really see how the lather is building in this new fancy bowl we've got.
And she's a little thirsty. I'm just going to add a little water into things here. Oh, just a couple of chunks floating around in there. Let me get a little bit more water.
It's funny how it does keep a little hue. It's not completely white. It still has a little creamy color to it.
And y'all watch this. When I push down just a little bit on my brush, those bristles flow right into that little channel between the bottom of the bowl and the sides and grab any soap or lather that might be hiding in there. And this is something you will only find here in the Barbershop Duet. This is the How Saxy Is Your Mousse with on 3, 1, 2. Very sexy. Very sexy. Oh, this has a little bit more of a chocolate.
Yeah, kind of a deeper, darker thing going on.
Yeah, and then the moss spreads out in this. That's wild.
It's funny, my brain still does not pull on the vanilla side. I get the brisk lavender thing coming through, but the vanilla is hard for me to find.
Well, you know what's funny? My nose is joining you on that because now that it's in the bowl, I can't find the vanilla and the lavender anymore, but that's what's meeting me here. That's why I think this is playing a little bit more chocolatey to my nose. And this is more natural. This is more outside. I still don't get the oak moss in the sense that I don't like oak moss. I think it's being used perfectly in this, which says something about that accord.
I almost get like a dark colored but like damp moss in there somehow.
Right. And much like Will used his nose to recreate the iconic Old Spice, I love that same nose has dove into this project and brought back the Mousse de Saxe accord, which somehow was considered lost for like a long time. Didn't they have the formula? How is it like lost? I'm sure Will can tell us.
There is actually a blog on the Barrister and Mann page all about it. So we will do our homework and you can check it out too.
There you go. Look in the description for a link to that blog. And we don't do shaving here on the Barbershop Duet. We leave that for our friends like Long Island Shaver. Oh, beautiful stuff there. But y'all, we thought you might like to see what this lather looks like when it coats and covers.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't know how to classify this scent. We have lanes that we always say to put these in, and this one's kind of its own. It's kind of more that educational perfumery kind of fun side.
Right, somewhere between Cure de Russie and Leviathan.
Yeah.
Might be a lane or a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I love that my brain is diving into something iconic, like trying a beef Wellington or oysters Rockefeller, something like that. Like, I just need to know what this smelled like.
Right, but to get to know it kind of on its own little pedestal for Mousse de Saxe, it's a very different thing when we read it for future. And I think there's a few other ones from Will that we've smelled that were just more EDP lanes or something. Right. But now getting to know its actual characteristics, I think it'll help us in the long run.
There's very little shellfish in this. All right, y'all, come along with us. We're going to get out our mousse call and take this a little bit deeper. All right, so what like famous movie stars or characters would smell like this? We haven't played this game in a while.
Whoa, I honestly don't know. I feel like I'm going to a black and white movie, like I'm going way back.
Yeah, Douglas Fairbanks.
Sure.
Would smell like the Errol Flynn.
Okay.
There you go.
I do love that we chose this episode to debut our hats on because this scent is completely opposite of what vibes I'm getting here.
Well, the dapper and distinguished with a little bit of fun cleverness on top. That might be apropos of this song. See, now I'm back to the vanilla sort of candied lane of this from there, and I'm leaving that to be the mossy, earthy side of things. This is fabulous.
I feel like I am getting the oak moss more now because it's something I know. The other stuff in here, it's still hard for me to nail down, which I'm still enjoying, but I really am getting more of the anisey side of the leather.
Right.
Like it's something more rugged and raw. It's approaching a leather note, but it doesn't quite get to that warm side. It's much more of like a black kind of color.
I can see where you're getting anise. A little bit of sweet from those top parts and a little bit of the darkness from the basy parts are coming together with that almost licoricey wisp. Very, very faint. Very faint. But there you go.
But to nail down what type of leather, because sometimes you'll ask me, and it's not any of the normal ones.
No, and it's not suede. It's not suede. This is a working man's leather. Think a strop.
Yes.
Right? Saddle.
It's almost like a gasoline-ish kind of thing on top of it, like you oiled it a lot, something.
I am so glad you said that, because during my first impression, I meant to say this has a little bit of that diesel hit from Presto, a little bit of that diesel hit from Fahrenheit in the middle of this that I love so much. Woo!
But I think that's what we were both hinting at being brave, like how it's getting to those whiffs are not the normal ways.
But that's why this reads hot for me. The lather feels cool. but the scent is on fire.
But it really brings that outdoorsy kind of thing, and I
Yes.
think that's part of it too.
So it's pretty simple, y'all. Just be the head of Melvin the Mousse on the wall of the Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland. Well, somewhere in the 90s, they're going to tear that building down and put up the Winnie the Pooh ride. But just after the Heffalumps and Woozles scene, if you turn around and look just right through the dark, you might see an old friend who got his own. So head over to barristerandmann.com to find this and a bunch of other cool stuff. Well, I've had my shave, y'all, with Lavanille, and with the Mousse de Saxe, it's like a time-traveling experiment, but one that is well worth your effort, taking us back to how our great-grandparents might have smelled if they were cologne people, and with a fabulous base that I often say is my favorite in the wet shaving world, and for a reason. If I ever have 2 days of growth, I reach for a Barrister and Mann soap to help mow that down in absolute comfort and luxury. Thank you, Will. We will be back soon. Hey, welcome to Messages.
So for our May giveaway, we wanted to give you a chance to get $25 to Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement.
Yeah, y'all, and all you have to do to be eligible for this giveaway is send us a message here at WeSentYou at thebarbershopduet.com so we can get back to you. Email is the only way we communicate about our giveaways, and then check back here on our first June episode to see if you are our lucky winner.
Best of luck.
Well, Barrister and Mann, a swing for the fences, a risky one, but a home run, and we now understand why this is part of your iconic baseline and has been for so long.
I love being educated through a different lens. Like, this really helped me understand what these scent notes can even do or even turn out to be. Mousse de Saxe, when you read it, you have no idea what that means. But now I feel like we have a better idea. Don't forget your next appointment with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.